Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the Cultural Breakdown. I normally don't care about award shows or anything like that because it really doesn't matter for me as a fan of a show. I mean, if it won one award, no awards, or even got a bunch of Razzies, it really doesn't matter to me. But the people who within the industry itself, they do care deeply about these awards, especially shows like The Rings of Power, which were clearly made for the critics in mind. They really wanted the Emmy nominations, and the nominations were just announced today. And so far, they're not happy. If you actually click right here to see what they got, okay, you have title theme music from Howard Shore, and then fantasy sci-fi costuming. I mean, Howard Shore, yeah, the only accomplishment they had was they got the guy that did the music for the Peter Jackson movies, and they didn't really step on his toes when he was saying, like, this is what I'm doing for the theme music. I mean, I guess they could have really tried to change it, but okay, fine. That's an accomplishment for the show, is you identified someone who was talented and used him, and that was it. And in costumes, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not a lot. I mean, are there a ton of sci-fi fantasy shows out there? I mean, I guess there's a bit out there, so we'll see. I mean, but again, I mean, I don't think it looked too good. It looked like a lot of 3D printed plastic, but whatever. They got nominated, and these are technical fields, but still good for them. But obviously, they wanted more in this, and this even is pointing out in the Hollywood Reporter, Rings of Power was snubbed at the awards. And if you go down here, Amazon's The Lord of the Rings of Power was notably snubbed from major categories despite being the most expensive series ever made. This was the most expensive series ever made, and it's not even getting any awards. So they submitted for 22 categories, and you can find this on Twitter. Where was this from? Fellowship of Fans. Not the real Fellowship. I mean, we all know what the real Fellowship is, but whatever. And these are what they were trying to get. Drama series, directing, writing, supporting actor, supporting actress, guest actor, cinematography, editing. So yeah, they were trying to submit for basically every major category, and they got none of them. They got a couple technical ones. And again, I'm not knocking the technical ones because those are an accomplishment for the individuals within that field. But for the show itself, this is terrible for them because they really wanted to show something. Because, like I said, this wasn't made for the fans. It was made for the critics and the industry. And you can even see that reflected in the Rotten Tomatoes score. I mean, the audience hated it, but the critics apparently loved it, and that's really what matters. And even then, 83% was like a middling love for it and whatever. I mean, it's like, look at this comparing to the Peter Jackson ones. Both audiences and critics loved it, even more so than that. I mean, even audiences seem to have more of a favorable review towards the Hobbit movies, which are more divisive. I mean, me personally, I mean, I didn't think they were great, but I mean, they're okay. I mean, I didn't think that it was offensive or anything like that. I mean, with the Rings of Power, I mean, it was really trying to subvert what happened, and as a result, no one liked it. In fact, you see this from Forbes, only 37% of viewers finished the show. And a lot of the people who watched it were probably just tuning in for the first episode or first couple episodes just to see what it was going to be like. Because I remember leading up to it, it was like, okay, this is going to be a train wreck. I just kind of want to see how this is. You watch the first couple episodes and they're like, okay, I'm out. I don't need to watch the rest of it. And as a result, the most expensive show ever made is not even getting any numbers for there. So the last thing that they could have hoped for was awards, and as a result, they're not even getting that. And we just had this come out this last week. One of the actresses for the show even came out and said, like, they were trying to subvert what Tolkien did because they don't like the messaging that he had in his books. So they want to do their own thing and insert their own agenda into it and make it so, like, when people think of Lord of the Rings, they think of their version. They're basically trying to erase the Peter Jackson and versions or the Tolkien versions and make their own thing. But unfortunately for them, we still got the original movies and the original books, and that's always going to be what comes to mind when I think of Lord of the Rings and anything in that property. They can't get rid of that, and by trying to insert modern day politics and modern day agendas into it, it's just going to make it dated. Because what Tolkien wrote with just a classic story of good versus evil, that resonates with people. And you can go back and watch the movies now that are like 20 years old, and not only do they hold up like visually from the effects standpoint, but also just from a storytelling standpoint, it's still a relevant story, and it'll still be relevant now or 20 years from now. Whereas this one, I mean, people have pretty much forgotten it already, but in 10 years from now, like no one will even remember that this was a thing. If anything, they'll just remember it as a big budget show that failed because it tried to do something different than what the master, the professor, actually wrote. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments. I mean, do you even care about this anymore? Or are you just laughing about it like I am? Comment below, let me know. And if you like this video, make sure you click the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.